prefer knowledge to wealth, for one is transitory, the other perpetual. We cannot live better than in seeking to become better. Every action has its pleasures and its price. I am not an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world. Do not do to others what angers you, if done to you by others. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. The hour of departure has arrived, and we go our separate ways. I, to die, and you, to live. Which of these two is better? Only God knows. Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings, so that you shall come easily by what others have labored hard for. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. Contentment is natural wealth. Luxury is artificial poverty. Let him who would move the world first move himself. The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. Sometimes you put walls up not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to break them down. The children now love luxury. They have bad manners, contempt for authority. They show disrespect for elders, and love chatter in place of exercise. Children are now tyrants, not the servants of their households. They no longer rise when elders enter the room. They contradict their parents, chatter before company, gobble up dainties at the table, cross their legs, and tyrannize their teachers. If you don't get what you want, you suffer. If you get what you don't want, you suffer. Even when you get exactly what you want, you still suffer, because you can't hold on to it forever. Your mind is your predicament. It wants to be free of change, free of pain, free of the obligations of life and death. But change is law, and no amount of pretending will alter that reality. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when you are in, continue firm and constant. He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have. By all means, marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. To find yourself, think for yourself. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Strong minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Weak minds discuss people. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. There is only one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. The unexamined life is not worth living. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Understanding a question is half an answer. Life contains but two tragedies. One is not to get your heart's desire. The other is to get it. The hottest love has the coldest end. Envy is the ulcer of the soul. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be. To fear death, gentlemen, is no other than to think oneself wise, when one is not, to think one knows what one does not know. No one knows whether death may not be the greatest of all blessings for a man. Yet men fear it as if they knew that it is the greatest of evils. From the deepest desires often come the deadliest hate. Once made equal to man, woman becomes his superior. My friend, care for your psyche. Know thyself, for once we know ourselves, we may learn how to care for ourselves. If you want to be a good saddler, saddle the worst horse. For if you can tame one, you can tame all. The beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. I pray thee, O God, that I may be beautiful within. If a man comes to the door of poetry untouched by the madness of the muses, believing that technique alone will make him a good poet, he and his sane compositions never reach perfection, but are utterly eclipsed by the performances of the inspired madman. One should never do wrong in return, nor mistreat any man, no matter how one has been mistreated by him. Regard your good name as the richest jewel you can possibly be possessed of. For credit is like fire. When once you have kindled it, you may easily preserve it. But if you once extinguish it, you will find it an arduous task to rekindle it again. The way to a good reputation is to endeavor to be what you desire to appear. The really important thing is not to live, but to live well. And to live well meant, along with more enjoyable things in life, to live according to your principles. The easiest and noblest way is not to be crushing others, but to be improving yourselves. He is richest who is content with the least, for content is the wealth of nature. If all our misfortunes were laid in one common heap, whence everyone must take an equal portion, most people would be content to take their own and depart. In all of us, even in good men, there is a lawless wild beast nature, which peers out in sleep. Those who are hardest to love need it the most. I only know that I know nothing. The greatest blessing granted to mankind come by way of madness, which is a divine gift. Be of good cheer about death, and know this of a truth, that no evil can happen to a good man, either in life or after death. Think not those faithful who praise all thy words and actions, but those who kindly reprove thy faults. Esteemed friend, citizen of Athens, the greatest city in the world, so outstanding in both intelligence and power. Aren't you ashamed to care so much to make all the money you can, and to advance your reputation and prestige, while for truth and wisdom, and the improvement of your soul, you have no care or worry? All men's souls are immortal, but the souls of the righteous are immortal and divine. The highest realms of thought are impossible to reach without first attaining an understanding of compassion. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. I did not care for the things that most people care about: making money, having a comfortable home, high military or civil rank, and all the other activities, political appointments, secret societies, party organizations, which go on in our city. I set myself to do you, each one of you, individually and in private, what I hold to be the greatest possible service. I tried to persuade each one of you to concern himself less with what he has than with what he is, so as to render himself as excellent and as rational as possible. To move the world, we must move ourselves. To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. Virtue does not come from wealth, but wealth, and every other good thing which men have, comes from virtue. I know you won't believe me, but the highest form of human excellence is to question oneself and others. He who is unable to live in society, or who has no need, because he is sufficient for himself, must be either a beast or a god. There is no solution. Seek it lovingly. Through your rags, I see your vanity. The misuse of language induces evil in the soul. Not life, but good life, is to be chiefly valued. It is better to change an opinion than to persist in a wrong one. When you want wisdom and insight as badly as you want to breathe, it is then you shall have it. God takes away the minds of poets and uses them as his ministers, as he also uses diviners and holy prophets, in order that we, who hear them, may know them to be speaking not of themselves, who utter these priceless words in a state of unconsciousness, but that God himself is the speaker, and that through them he is conversing with us. Intelligent individuals learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences. The stupid already have all the answers. And therefore, if the head and the body are to be well, you must begin by curing the soul. That is the first and essential thing. And the care of the soul, my dear youth, has to be effected by the use of certain charms. And these charms are fair words. And by them, temperance is implanted in the soul. And where temperance comes and stays, their health is speedily imparted, not only to the head, but to the whole body. One who is injured ought not to return the injury, for on no account can it be right to do an injustice. And it is not right to return an injury, or to do evil to any man, however much we have suffered from him. There is no greater evil one can suffer than to hate reasonable discourse. My plainness of speech makes them hate me. And what is their hatred but a proof that I am speaking the truth? He is not only idle, who does nothing, but he is idle, who might be better employed. Do not trouble about those who practice philosophy, whether they are good or bad, but examine the thing itself well and carefully. And if philosophy appears a bad thing to you, turn every man from it, not only your sons. But if it appears to you such as I think it to be, take courage, pursue it, and practice it. As the saying is, both you and your house. It is a disgrace to grow old through sheer carelessness, before seeing what manner of man you may become, by developing your bodily strength and beauty to their highest limit. As to marriage or celibacy, let a man take which course he will be sure to repent. A system of morality which is based on relative emotional values is a mere illusion, a thoroughly vulgar conception, which has nothing sound in it, and nothing true. Such as thy words are, such will thine affections be esteemed, and such as thine affections will be thy deeds, and such as thy deeds will be thy life. Remember that there is nothing stable in human affairs. Therefore, avoid undue elation in prosperity, or undue depression in adversity. And so they grow richer and richer, and the more they think of making a fortune, the less they think of virtue. For when riches and virtue are placed together in the scales of the balance, one always rises, as the other falls. I desire only to know the truth, and to live as well as I can. And, to the utmost of my power, I exhort all other men to do the same. I exhort you also to take part in the great combat, which is the combat of life, and greater than every other earthly conflict. The true champion of justice, if he intends to survive even for a short time, must necessarily confine himself to private life, and leave politics alone. Remember, no human condition is ever permanent. Then you will not be overjoyed in good fortune, nor too sorrowful in misfortune. Mankind is made of two kinds of people: wise people who know they're fools, and fools who think they are wise. The law presumably says that it is finest to keep as quiet as possible in misfortunes, and not be irritated, since the good and bad in such things aren't plain, nor does taking it hard get one anywhere, nor are any of the human things worthy of great seriousness. One must accept the fall of the dice, and settle one's affairs accordingly, in whatever way argument declares would be best. One must not behave like children who have stumbled, and who hold on to the hurt place, and spend their time in crying out. Rather, one must always habituate the soul to turn as quickly as possible to curing, and setting aright what has fallen, and is sick, doing away with lament by medicine. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Nobody is qualified to become a statesman who is entirely ignorant of the problem of wheat. I know nothing except the fact of my ignorance. Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings, so that You shall gain easily what others have labored hard for. Worthless people live only to eat and drink. People of worth eat and drink only to live. How can you wonder? Your travels do you no good when you carry yourself around with you. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I enjoyed it. And I don't know why I'll do it again. The answer I gave myself, and the oracle, was that it was to my advantage to be as I am. Each individual can only do one thing well. He can't do lots of things. If he tries, he will be jack of all trades and master of none. What I do not know, I do not think I know. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. It is only in death that we are truly cured of the sickness of life. Let us not just trust the likelihood based on painting. If you like, please do not forget to subscribe for more.